Hey everybody, John from Movie Burners here, back with another movie review, and today I'm going to be discussing the 2018 release Blockers. Now, Kay Cannon is making her directorial debut with this one, and she's taken the very well trodden teenage sexuality comedy film and given it a right good shake, much in a similar vein to what John Krasinski managed to do with A Quiet Place and the horror genre. I thought I was done with these type of films, I've got to be honest, after watching umpteen iterations of American Pie and its painfully bad remakes and sequels, and even the likes of Superbad, a film which I actually did enjoy, and it was genuinely funny, with likeable characters and a very simplistic plot. And Blockers, it has to be said, has very similar plus points to Superbad, and it flings in a nice split perspective plot for good measure, which I have to say was surprisingly enjoyable. The premise of this film is incredibly simple. It focuses on three teenage girls and lifelong friends who make a secret sex pact on the eve of their high school prom night. There's Julie Deckard, played by Kathryn Newton, Kayla, played by Geraldine Viswanathan, and Sam, played by Gideon Adlon. It's established very early on that there's a fundamental disconnect between the girls and their parents. The girls embrace their sexuality independence and view the idea of losing their virginity with a mild indifference at best. The mollycoddling, overprotective parents, however, yeah, they have quite a bit of an issue with it. And really that is what fuels much of the antics and plot within Blockers. Making up the parents' side, incidentally, is Lisa, played by Leslie Mann, the mother of Julie, who was left with a child at a very young age after having her heart broken chasing a boy. She has a severe case of separation anxiety and she doesn't want her daughter repeating her previous mistakes. We also have Mitchell, played by John Cena, the father of Kaylee, a big softy at heart who is again highly protective, and he can't come to terms with the fact his daughter is now on the brink of adulthood and potentially doesn't need him. Finally, we have Hunter, played by A.K. Barinholtz, the estranged father of Sam. He's been out of his daughter's life for a number of years, but he quickly realises that she is gay, wants to be part of her life again, and he doesn't want her making a mistake with the fat kid she's taken to prom. Now, we get to see the relationship between the parents and the children in a rather quick-fire, neat little montage within the film's opening 5 minutes or so, before the whole sex pact shenanigans is put into place. There's a weird sort of symmetrical yin and yang effect that really embodies the two groups and their relationships within Blockers. The parents are initially on close, friendly terms, before they slowly drift apart over the years, but they're soon brought back together, of course, with the common goal of scuppering any lewd antics which may take place throughout that evening. Meanwhile, the children have become inseparable, remaining so throughout their school years, but they inevitably head their separate ways for college towards the film's end. Now, I don't want to be giving the entirety of this film's plot away, that would be an incredibly stupid thing to do, but needless to say, evidence of the sex pact is revealed through an open group chat on a discarded MacBook, and the parents are then whisked off on a hilarious cat and mouse chase with their unaware daughters, letting their hair down and enjoying the night and wherever it takes them. And incidentally, this film takes place across the vast majority of the city, it would seem, and they really do everything in their powers, the parents that is, to block their children throughout. And this is where the vast majority of this film's comedic moments lie, as you would expect. And some of the antics are a little far-fetched, I have to admit, but it doesn't really matter or hamper your enjoyment of this film any. This film is sheer, unadulterated comedic escapism. Now, in terms of comedic moments, I did laugh the hardest at the adult series of unfortunate events. The girls have their moments too though, but Mitchell in particular is by far the biggest provider of humour. Just think of Drax in the Avengers Infinity War or the two Guardians of the Galaxy films and you'll have a good idea of what I'm talking about. The best examples of this humour would probably be literally the copies motherfucker put down that he experiences at one point, inadvertently being caught up in a pitch black blindfolded strange sex game, all the way through to chugging beer through one of the most unlikeliest orifices I could have imagined. This film is worth watching for Mitchell alone. Lisa also has her moments too. There's an electric shock moment towards the film's end with a TV, which was right up there in terms of humour. Hunter isn't the black sheep in this regard either though. He's genuinely funny too, and some of his facial expressions are absolutely hilarious. Now, in terms of performances, John Cena is slowly growing on me as an actor. He's certainly no Marlon Brando, nor will he ever be, but he's improving incrementally with every film I watch him in. He's one of the best things in Blockers, and he really does deliver a comedic masterclass with some of his antics within. A.K. Barinholtz is a chap that I've long admired too. I loved his performance in Suicide Squad and a number of other films, and he's great here too, arguably the standout. He goes from a real obnoxious clown out of touch with his daughter to becoming a father again, whilst revealing his true, more mellower nature. Leslie Mann was also extremely good, as you'd expect, as the over-controlling but ultimately well-meaning and kindly mother that was Lisa. But moving on to the children now, Newton, Allen and Viswanathan were all very decent. Each of them delivered authentic performances as teenagers experimenting with drink, drugs and just looking to have a good time. They all genuinely felt like three close high school friends that had known each other for years and years and years. The chemistry was there, and just hearing some of the crude remarks that they shared between each other was both jarring and funny, because it's not something that I personally am accustomed to hearing from female characters. That's more something that you would expect from a male character in these type of films. If I was to pick a standout between the three, I would probably opt for Viswanathan, because I felt she delivered the more multifaceted performance of the three, and her story was the one that caught my eye. Speaking of the stories of the teenagers, Sam's coming out story and uncertainty about how it would really affect her friendship was probably one of the more emotive parts of the film. Her revulsion at going through with having sex with this fat kid that she took to the prom was palpable, and it was quite funny too. Julie's battle for space and independence drove her mother to the brink, whilst Kayla had such a free-spirited indifference to everything that came her way within Blockers, which was really summed up with her trying a multitude of different drugs, not to mention the deadpan hilarious nonchalance with which she told her lad partner earlier in the day that they were going to be having sex that night. She had probably the best comedic moments of the girls in this film, personal favourite being the stoned out or nut moment when she seen her father chugging the beer. Now, like I said previously, Blockers is a light-hearted, fun piece of comedic escapism. One of the better comedy films I've actually seen in the last few years, and that is mostly because it explores some important themes on top of the humour. Most notably the parents going through something of a midlife crisis, almost living vicariously through their daughters, and having to deal with them becoming independent young adults, whilst also simultaneously letting them learn from their own mistakes and experiences, which is something each parent grows to realise as the film reaches its conclusion. I thoroughly enjoyed Blockers. It was a great directing debut from Kay Cannon. It had me roaring with laughter in quite a few moments. I would normally offer a viewing recommendation, good or bad, for these type of films, but this one strikes me as being a potential Marmite release. What I will say though is that if you have enjoyed this genre in the past, then this one will certainly not disappoint. And I'll be giving this one a very solid 4 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then do subscribe to us on YouTube at Movie Burner Entertainment and on iTunes and Google Play at the Movie Burner Podcast, whilst also giving us a little follow on Facebook and Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out on the Movie Burner blog at movieburnerintertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.